Hi everyone, good morning and good afternoon. My name is Niraj Periwal. I'm the Product Marketing Manager here at eFolder and your host for today's event. Welcome to the eFolder Expert Series. This webinar series brings together leading eFolder employees and partners for technical discussions. Today's topic is 3 easy steps to configuring your own BDR appliance. Today we're joined by Adam Prio, a product manager here at eFolder, and Tammy Sutcliffe, an instructional designer also here at eFolder. Today's webinar is being recorded. The recorded version of the webinar will be made available on eFolder's YouTube channel, and we'll also make it available to everyone attending. And we'll be doing the same with the deck as well. Now, before I go into today's agenda, I just want to mention that we put all participants in listen-only mode. You're welcome to dial in over the phone or listen in through your computer to the audio. Hopefully you can hear me, so you've either dialed in or you're listening in on your computer. So let's go ahead and go into today's agenda. Today, we're going to start by introducing our experts, Tammy and Adam, and then we're going to go over why BDR appliances are so crucial for proper disaster recovery. After all, if we're talking about configuring your own BDR appliance, it's important to mention why you should be considering having your own BDR appliance in the first place. We're going to introduce eFolder BDR Protect. It's one of our 5 backup and disaster recovery solutions, and then go right into 3 easy steps to configuring your own BDR appliance using our eFolder BDR Builder. We're going to go into some factors to consider before diving into questions and discussion. Now, we welcome questions throughout the webinar, and we'll try to get to them on the fly, but if not, we'll get to them during the Q&A section at the end of today's session. So let's go ahead and have Tammy and Adam introduce themselves to the audience. Tammy, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thanks. I've been working with the Shadow Protect documentation now at eFolder for the last year or so, and Adam and I have been working pretty closely together developing the documents, especially for this new BDR Builder setup utility. It's a very cool improvement, and it really does streamline that process. I don't want to represent myself as an expert on this topic. I know the documentation front to back, but Adam is the man. We'll turn it over to Adam in terms of being the specialist in how to use, and especially how to answer questions on how to use the Shadow Protect BDR Builder. So over to Adam.
Thanks, Tammy, and thanks, Niraj. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Adam Prio. I'm a product manager with eFolder. Been here for about 1.5 years and have been focused on the BDR for Shadow Protect line. Also do some things with our Cronus, Aperture, and some of our other BDR flavors that we have. It's been great to build the BDR Builder. It's been a request from our partners to help both improve the speed to building a BDR as well as the consistency of those build outs. So this has been a great and valued project for us. So thanks again, Niraj.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tammy and Adam, for taking the time to join us today and lend your knowledge and expertise to the audience. So let's go over really quick, why are BDR appliances so crucial for proper disaster recovery? Well, for one, a BDR appliance lets you recover quickly from a local server failure. So if your server or servers you're backing up suddenly go down for whatever reason, maybe a motherboard got fried or your RAM is acting up and interfering with other parts of the server, you're able to recover really quickly by simply spinning up the BDR appliance as kind of a impromptu server, and then in the few days or week it takes you to buy a new server, that BDR appliance is humming along and ensuring that that the local office is able to run business as usual. The second reason why BDR Appliance is crucial for DR is obviously it's able to replicate local backups to the cloud. So whichever BDR solution you use, you're able to replicate the local backups to the cloud and ensure that you have a second site, off-site backup for all of your clients' critical data. And finally, in the worst case scenario, let's say there's a site-wide emergency, maybe a flood or a fire that destroys the local server and makes you need to do instant virtualization, you're able to do that with a BDR appliance on site. So those are kind of three main reasons why, if you don't already have a BDR appliance as a part of your DR strategy, you really ought to. So now let's go over why should you consider configuring your own BDR appliance, whether that's repurposing an old BDR appliance or building your own from the ground up. Well, for one, if you're building one kind of tailored to your client's needs, you're able to build the spec. So you're able to get, the right processor and the right kind of RAM and storage space, depending on your client's computing needs. And so potentially, you're able to save money by only deploying kind of the hardware that is needed. So maybe one client may need a really beefy BDR appliance. They've got multiple servers they're backing up. Maybe they got really complex server line applications running on that server that need to be backed up in real time. Or maybe they're just a small mom and pop shop and they have kind of the bare necessities when it comes to backup. So you can tailor your BDR appliance specifications according to your client's needs. A third reason why you may want to configure your own BDR appliance is to avoid proprietary vendor lock-in. Not to name names, but there are certain other players in the industry who like to offer proprietary hardware that just can't be used with any other BDR solution out there unless you kind of configure your own. So that's why it might be really valuable to build your own BDR appliance and avoid that lock-in. And finally, a lot of MSPs out there have really great and robust BDR appliances that may kind of not be suitable for high-end clients in 2016, but maybe you have a client from 2014 who at that time used a pretty high-end BDR appliance, and you might just be able to repurpose that for a client in 2016 that doesn't have really high-end needs and just needs a basic BDR appliance. So that's, again, another great way to be able to save time and money by repurposing old but gold hardware. So,
hey, Niraj, do you mind if I interject
sure.
Just real quick? Thank you.
Sure.
So I just wanted to mention that our eFolder partners, they really fall into two different camps. And one of those camps is that our partners want a fully enabled turnkey BDR appliance that they can provision locally. And they want to buy that from us, they want to buy the service from us, and they want it all in one package. And we provide that today. We have 5 different models of BDRs that we sell ourselves, different sizes, different amounts of RAM, those sorts of things. And they're all pre-configured with Shadow Protect and to back up to the eFolder cloud. That's one set of partners, and those partners love that solution. But then we have another set that they buy lots of hardware, they already have a vendor in place, they may have discounted pricing with that vendor, so they don't really want to buy an appliance from us, but they want it configured with Shadow Protect, backing up to the eFolder cloud, and all of those things. So what we've really tried to do with the BDR Builder is take all of the software setup and information that we put into our own hardware setups and provide that to our partners so that they can quickly build out their own server with their own hardware. So I just want to mention briefly that we do have those two different models, and I know we're focusing today on the BDR Builder, but for those of you on the call that are thinking, man, I don't want to build this out, I just want to buy it, we also have that available. So thanks, Neeraj.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Adam. You know, it's a situation where we want to offer partners kind of the choice of whatever they want. You know, some partners are kind of uncomfortable for whatever reason with acquiring their own appliances, and they just want an all-in-one turnkey solution. So then you're more than welcome to come to us, and we're more than happy to sell you a BDR appliance and have it pre-configured. But you know, with the BDR Builder, what we allow you to do is if you have a preferred vendor, if you already have hardware that you'd like to leverage, you can simply install everything you need on that appliance using the BDR Builder and get going with eFolder, you know, really quickly. So let's go ahead and turn it over to Tammy now and have her kind of share the process for using the eFolder BDR Builder to configure your own BDR with BDR
Sure.
Protect.
Absolutely. And actually, our session today is going to be pretty high level. We're not actually going to run a live demo with this, but I'm going to give you some idea of basically the steps that are involved to run the BDR Builder. And actually, the good news is that this session isn't going to take very long. I mean, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at how streamlined this procedure actually is. And also, after today's session, when we send the recordings out, there is a BDR Builder guide. It's a new guide that we developed last year, and it contains all the technical requirements and all the details on how to actually do this. And I'll keep kind of referring to that at a high level through our presentation. So let's go ahead and get started.
Cool.
So first of all, it'd probably be helpful to understand what the BDR Builder for Shadow Protect actually does. And the goal is to allow you to create a BDR appliance quickly and easily and using the latest supported versions of Shadow Protect. And automating the process is what will save you the time and probably a lot of frustration. And BDR Builder does most of that heavy lifting of BDR creation in an automated way. And one part of the heavy lifting is determining whether the targeted system is actually ready for a BDR installation. And having some guidance while you're going through the process can really save time and frustration. And so one of the things that BDR Builder will do for you is do some system requirement checking first and then do some alerts. If the system meets their minimum requirements, then you'll get a prompt and you'll get started. But if you only meet the minimum requirements and not the recommended, you'll get an alert display. And that's just to flag you that there may be some issues. Even though the setup will continue, you know, you're still not at the fully complete recommended requirement. And of course, if the system requirements are incomplete or this isn't going to work, a warning will appear and the setup will fail. And so you're not going to waste time and energy trying to figure out if the new BDR creation is working and what's needed to get going. And so, of course, behind the scenes, BDR Builder is taking actions on a lot of tasks, actually 15 specific tasks. And that's including installing the Shadow Protect software, the image manager, the virtual box, and the virtual boot plugin. And so, as you can see, there's a lot of activities running behind the scenes to streamline all of this. And of course, we're not going to discuss everything that takes place during the session today. And again, you want to review those actions in detail in the setup guide. But we probably should mention some basic prerequisites and a couple of system requirements that you need to be aware of. So we'll go over those now. In terms of hardware, the BDR Builder for Shadow Protect is going to require 8 gigs of system memory, 15 gigs of free space on a C drive, and an internet connection. In terms of software requirements, the BDR Builder for Shadow Protect basically needs the latest Windows updates to be installed and an X drive to be present. And again, the full requirements are described in the guide, so you want to look those over to familiarize yourself. But it's worth noting that once you're set up as a Shadow Protect partner with us, with eFolder, once you're established with us, the BDR Builder will have access to the pieces of software that it needs to work its magic. So you may as well save yourself the time and the frustration and use the BDR Builder to do the heavy lifting of the installation. The only other requirements probably that we'd want to mention at this point would be having your Windows Server, your Net 4.5 and Net 3.5 installed prior to getting started. And there are some accessibility issues that you need to settle beforehand. So you want to be able to run the installer from an administrator account. You need to verify permission to install to the C drive, and you need to have access to the X drive from the administrator account. Again, all of these are detailed in the setup guide, and of course you'd familiarize yourself with these requirements before you get started. So the next couple steps then are just to walk through what you'll experience when you use the BDR Builder, what you'll actually see when you're in the setup utility. And I think you'll probably be surprised at how straightforward the steps actually are. So first you download the utility files, and the latest version is kept in a knowledge base article. It's under the BDR Builder section in the knowledge base of the eFolder backup portal. You can get into that without a login. The setup utility is around 600 meg in size, and you mount or burn the ISO file to access the executable file. And then you launch the BDR Builder, the setup utility itself, by running the setup.exe install file. And then you'll select Shadow Protect from the pull-down list. And also, you'll note that if you're backing up Microsoft Exchange data, this is where you install the optional crawl GRE by selecting the provided checkbox here. This is the step. Then, of course, you read and accept the eFolder end user license agreement. And this is where the BDR Builder utility will determine if the system meets the minimum requirements, the minimum software and hardware requirements. And really, this is one of those steps that is going to save time and effort overall, because you're going to clearly be able to recognize what the problems are, if there are any, and how to proceed. So if the system requirements are incomplete, you'll get the warning message and the setup will fail. But if the system meets the minimum requirements, you'll get an alert and the setup will continue. And then once you're actually at that meeting the minimum requirement, you're prompted to begin the installation. So you hit the install button. Begin the installation. BDR Builder setup utility installs the necessary components. And this, what's actually happening here during the component installation is the miraculous part. There's an Arthur C. Clarke quote that says, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And basically, here's the part of the BDR Builder process that becomes magical. And to recap for the more literal-minded, here's a listing of the actual actions that are underway during the component installation step. And this is the heart and soul of the BDR Builder for Shadow Protect. This is where the time and frustration is reduced because these installations are being handled automatically. So we're removing all those separate steps and all those potential miscues, and these are basically 15 tasks you don't have to take the time to do yourself. This is just an inspiring BDR Builder photo. So after the magic's completed and the components have been successfully installed, you click Finish to view the installation summary. And an important last step is that you'll need to reboot the system, and that reboot is required for all installations. And that basically is the BDR Builder setup utility in a nutshell. Remember that you'll download the files and the setup guide with all the details in the knowledge base under BDR Builder. And again, we'll have a recording of the session if you wanted to walk through it again as referenced later on. Was there anything else you wanted to add or mention, Adam?
Thank you, Tammy, very much. That was great. Just at the very end there, just wanted to mention that we'll also provide a full summary of what was installed and modified when the BDR Builder completes, and we leverage a lot of silent installations. So if for some reason something went wrong, didn't fully complete, etc., it'll be listed there with some action items. Some errors will stop the builder itself, but others will just be logged. So I just want to mention that we give a full summary as well of the completed build out. But otherwise, thank you, Tammy. That's great.
You bet.
Cool. Let's see. I think that's kind of it. We wanted to keep it short and sweet, but let's look at some of the questions here in the question queue. So Peter is asking, where can we review specs for the BDRs? So what we'll do is I will make sure that in the follow-up email to everyone attending today, we'll send out the appliance specifications for BDR Subject for those of you who want to source the hardware from us. And within the BDR Builder guide that Adam and Tammy mentioned are the minimum and recommended specs for hardware that you may choose to configure yourself. So we'll get that to you today. Let's see. The guide and the download, again, I'll make the guide available to everyone who attended today. Let's see. A question here from Eric. Adam, you might be able to lend your knowledge here. When will the BDR support IFTP?
Great question, Eric. As you know, currently we have our own proprietary technology that performs the backup of Shadow Protect images to the eFolder cloud. We will be replacing that with IFTP, which is the replication mechanism within Image Manager, very shortly. I unfortunately can't give out too many details on the time frame right now. I think next week we might be looking at a larger announcement as a company, but it's right around the corner, I guess is what I'd say. We've been vetting the technology internally. We've also been vetting Image Manager version 7, which was just released by StorageCraft last week, I believe, or 2 weeks ago, and everything is looking great. So good news coming. Sorry I can't say more now, but we're getting really close there.
Cool. And then John is asking, you know, what do I do if I want to build a BDR for VM? What are my options there?
It's a good question. I don't know if I'm the right person to answer the question, Niraj. I'm less familiar with the Veeam setup. I know that we do not provide a sort of consolidated utility like this for Veeam. Really, this is the first flavor of our BDR products that we do provide it for, and we are planning on rolling in Acronis and Aperture at some point in time. However, I'm unclear on Veeam, so we may need to follow up with our other product managers after this meeting and find out the answer there.
Okay, cool. Let's see. See if there's any more. Not really any more questions in the queue. Let's see. John is asking, is all of this included in the ShadowTech license? So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, but pretty much any eFolder partner with ShadowTech can gain access to the eFolder BDR Builder simply by logging in and downloading it, correct?
That's correct, yes. There's no additional cost to use this setup utility. Obviously, once you've got Shadow Protect installed, it'll need to be licensed using those Shadow Protect licenses itself. But otherwise, as Niraj mentioned, once you're an eFolder partner, you're backing up to the eFolder cloud, you have access to this to begin building out your own local BDRs.
Awesome. Cool. A question here from Tom. Can the BDR Builder run in a virtual machine?
It can. There's nothing stopping it, assuming that the VM is properly resourced. There's nothing from stopping it there. There's other features within Shadow Protect, like running Head Start Restore and their virtual boot that I do not believe support nested virtualization, but that would be more on the Shadow Protect side of things. But as far as the actual installer and the BDR Builder itself, it will run within a VM. In fact, that's how I test it most often, is using a VM.
Cool. So the answer there is yes.
Yeah, sorry, long yes there.
Question here from Helio, who's asking, the latest version supports virtual boot from Hyper-V. Why not use Hyper-V on BDR?
Yes, that is an option.
Okay, cool. Where would we get info? Question from Andrew. Where would we get info on using the features of the BDR that this built? For example, I've never even heard of Chocolatey. What is Chocolatey and why is it on the BDR?
Yeah, so there's a few things that the BDR Builder does that allows eFolder to provide a proper level of updates and support for our partners. So in addition to things like the Shadow Protect and Image Manager software and our Backup Manager, there's a Team Viewer, for example, which allows our support agents to provide remote support sessions with the BDRs in case you have an issue or a setup problem or whatever. With Chocolatey, it's actually something that we use to update the software. So for example, with Image Manager 7, as soon as that's fully vetted by eFolder, it'll be part of the update package that can be downloaded and then installed by the partner. We don't automatically update any of the software using Chocolatey. We just simply allow the newly vetted products to be downloaded. So it's just a control mechanism for us to update to the latest types of software. You can find a full list of the updates that occur within the BDR Builder user guide that Neeraj will send out after this meeting.
Yeah. Cool. Question from Robin. Could you please discuss the boots? Does this allow booting up the latest backup snapshot to confirm a good backup is restorable?
So I know with Image Manager version 7, StorageCraft has provided a new feature. I don't remember what they've called it exactly. It's like Advanced Verify or something of that nature, where they essentially will take a backup image, they will boot it virtually, take a screenshot, and then provide some amount of information back to the success or failure of that. I'm beyond that statement right there. I have not actually used it. It's a brand new feature that came out about 2 weeks ago, and I'm sure that StorageCraft will have a lot more information on that. But that's a great feature. We know that RepLBit, which is another product that we support, has a similar feature and partners love it. So we're really looking forward to supporting that further with the new version of Image Manager.
Yep. Awesome. Well, it looks like there are no more questions here in the queue. And, you know, if nobody minds, we'll end a bit early and let you get on with the rest of your days. But, yeah, that's going to cover it for today. So, as I mentioned, we are going to be sending out the BDR Builder guide to everyone who attended today. And that way you'll get a greater understanding of kind of all the steps needed to use the BDR Builder, including the minimum system requirements and the hardware requirements if you choose to build your own BDR. But that's pretty much it from my end and from eFolder. Thank you so much again for joining us. Special thanks to Adam and Tammy for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you, Neeraj. Appreciate it.
And awesome. So everyone, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And thank you again for joining us for today's eFolder expert series. Thank you so much and have a good one.